If you think humanity earned its place among the stars because of technology, diplomacy, or luck, you are wrong. We earned it because one girl refused to let the galaxy laugh at her mother's death. Before I begin, if you love powerful sci-fi stories about humanity rising against impossible odds, make sure to subscribe to the channel and stay with me until the end, because this is not just a story about revenge, it's about endurance. The transport shuttle connected to orbital station HFY 12 with a muted metallic sigh, and Amara Reyes stepped out carrying a single duffel bag and a silence so heavy it seemed to bend the recycled air around her. She had grown up in the humid sprawl of Manila's lower districts, where the air was thick with salt and engine smoke and life. HFY 12 smelled like sterilized metal and filtered oxygen, air scrubbed so clean it felt artificial in her lungs. The docking bay stretched wide as a cathedral, filled with vessels from 100 civilizations, their hulls shaped in geometries that hurt the eye. Students flowed through the terminal in clusters, tall, scaled beings wrapped in ceremonial armor, luminous amphibious figures gliding over the floor, multi-limbed scholars tapping at floating holographic screens. And then there was her. The only human. The first human ever admitted to the Dominion War College. Conversations softened when she passed. Heads tilted. Optical membranes narrowed. She could read body language in any species. Tension always looked the same. At the registration platform, a silver-skinned Let Hari administrator with translucent eyelids studied her with clinical detachment. "You are the Terran candidate," it said flatly. "Amara Reyes," she replied. The Let Hari handed her a thin data wafer containing her schedule, dorm assignment, station schematics. No welcome speech. No handshake. Just procedure. Her dormitory was located in the lower habitation ring, far from the panoramic quarters reserved for heirs of admirals and planetary governors. The room was narrow, built for efficiency rather than comfort. 2 wall-mounted sleep alcoves. 1 sanitation unit. 1 desk. Her assigned roommate was already present. Saran Val, a Varelian with pale violet skin and faintly glowing sigils along her collarbones, regarded Amara with cautious curiosity. "They truly sent a Deathworlder," Saran murmured. "You are smaller than I expected." "Most hunters are," Amara answered quietly as she unpacked. She placed 3 items on the shelf above her alcove, a worn leather cord bracelet, a compact training knife locked in safety mode, and a small holographic frame. When activated, the frame projected the image of a woman in combat armor, dark hair tied back, expression firm but warm. Captain Elena Reyes. Fallen during the frontier conflicts 12 years ago. Saran noticed the way Amara's jaw tightened at the sight of the image and chose not to ask questions. The next morning, the orientation assembly convened in the Grand Forum, a colossal amphitheater carved into the station's central core. Thousands of cadets filled the ascending rows. Amara sat alone in the back. The High Rector, an elder Dravani with crystalline growths across his shoulders, delivered a speech about discipline, unity, and the honor of serving the Dominion. Near the end, almost as an afterthought, he added, "This term we extend admission to a representative of Terra. Cooperation is expected." That was all. No applause. No acknowledgement of risk. Just expectation. The first weeks were colder than the station's environmental settings. No one chose the seat beside her. In the mess hall, trays shifted away from her table. In the corridors, certain cadets brushed against her deliberately. A towering Carvex, a chitin-armored species renowned for battlefield dominance, shouldered her once and muttered, "Soft-boned." His companions produced harsh clicking sounds that passed for laughter. Amara did not react. She kept walking. She did not flinch. She did not accelerate. She did not lower her gaze. Her lack of response unsettled them more than anger would have. In private hours, she studied the station layout, memorizing access routes, ventilation grids, gravity fluctuations, blind corners. She cataloged species behaviors unconsciously, gait rhythms, breathing patterns, peripheral vision limits. It was instinct. Humanity's oldest survival trait. Observe first, act later. On the 6th day, Saran hesitantly mentioned the next morning's lecture. Advanced Combat Doctrine. Instructor Draxus Valn presiding. Amara paused mid-stretch. Draxus Valn. She knew the name. A Carvex war hero. Decorated across 11 campaigns. He commanded during the Andavar border purges, Saran added carefully. Amara nodded once. I know. She did not elaborate. That night she lay in her alcove staring at the ceiling while the hologram of her mother cast faint blue light across the metal wall. Tomorrow she would sit in the same room as the being who led the assault that destroyed Outpost Hespera, the colony where her mother made her last stand. The Combat Doctrine Hall resembled an arena more than a classroom. 200 cadets arranged in steep tiers surrounding a central combat platform. Holographic emitters hovered overhead. Draxus Valn entered to applause. He was immense, over 2 meters tall, armored in natural black plating layered with ceremonial metal. His mandibles flexed as he surveyed the room. War is not poetry, he began, voice resonant and sharp. It is mathematics and dominance. He projected historical engagements in vivid detail, fleets burning in vacuum, ground forces advancing through smoke. He praised the Carvex as apex strategists. He dismissed diplomatic species as necessary but secondary. Then the hologram shifted to Earth, a blue sphere turning silently in space. Humans, Draxus said, tone edged with contempt. Resilient pests from a Class 12 death world. Admirably stubborn. Ultimately fragile. Muted laughter rippled through the hall. The projection changed again. Nighttime footage. A colonial settlement under siege. Defensive lines collapsing. Explosions lighting the darkness. Amara recognized the layout instantly. Hespera. She had memorized every structural blueprint. I led the second breach wave, Draxus continued casually. Their commander resisted effectively for a primitive. Held the east barricade 7 hours. Cost me 113 soldiers. Impressive for soft tissue. The room chuckled. Amara's hands lay flat on her desk. Her knuckles whitened, but her face remained neutral. Draxus' gaze found her. Stand, Terran. She rose smoothly. Do humans teach combat, he asked, or only how to die with enthusiasm? Laughter surged. Amara waited for silence. Which barricade did you breach first? She asked calmly. Draxus blinked. The eastern perimeter. And the commander's name? A dismissive wave. Names blur in war. Captain Elena Reyes, Amara said. She held position with 32 personnel. Your after-action reports confirm 113 Carvex casualties before breach success. Silence fell hard. She was my mother. The temperature in the hall seemed to drop further. Draxus' throat plating dimmed slightly. He forced a laugh and resumed the lecture, but something in his cadence faltered. From that day forward, Amara studied him with the patience of a predator. She dissected his recorded battles, mapped his movement tendencies, analyzed Carvex joint articulation limits, nerve plexus density beneath armor seams. She trained longer hours in gravity flux chambers. She ran endurance loops until instructors asked her to stop. While other cadets collapsed after one circuit, she continued, sweat cooling her skin, breath steady. Humans did not sprint fastest. They lasted longest. Persistence hunting scaled to civilization. Midterm assessments confirmed what whispers had begun to suggest. She was outperforming nearly every cadet. Draxus marked her harshly, deducted trivial points, loaded her with additional scenarios. She completed them all. Calmly. Without triumph. The semester's culminating event approached. The grand demonstration, attended by Dominion officials across multiple systems. Draxus announced he would perform an open spar, cross-species engagement illustrating Carvex's superiority. Volunteers were invited. Everyone knew whom he intended to humiliate. The night before the event, Saran confronted her. He outweighs you by 200 kilograms. His exoskeleton deflects blade strikes. His reaction latency is half yours. Amara finished wrapping her hands. His lateral tracking delay below chest axis is 0.3 seconds. His thoracic plates restrict hip rotation under 16 degrees Celsius. The arena climate is set to 14. Saran stared. You have planned this. For weeks. The amphitheater overflowed. 3,000 spectators. Holodrones broadcasting live. Draxus entered first to thunderous applause. Then Amara descended the steps in standard training attire. No armor. No enhancements. Just human muscle and bone. The referee signaled. Begin. Draxus lunged, signature right shoulder charge. Amara was already moving. Low, lateral, inside his tracking gap. He struck empty air. He turned, swung again. She vanished from his forward arc. Minutes passed. He grew louder, more aggressive. She remained efficient, economical. 12 minutes in, his movements slowed microscopically. Joint stiffness. Elevated respiration. She struck, a precise palm strike between his fourth and fifth thoracic plates. A flicker. A nerve spasm. Another strike. His left leg faltered. Frustration overtook discipline. He charged wildly. She pivoted, hooked his forward limb, redirected his momentum. 200 kilograms of armored mass crashed against the floor. The impact echoed. In a fluid motion she mounted his side, thumb pressing into the mandibular nerve cluster she had memorized from anatomical charts. Paralysis rippled through him. He froze. The arena fell silent. She leaned close. Outpost Hespera, she whispered. Captain Elena Reyes. She did not break. She released him and stepped back. Draxus remained prone, throat plating dimming to surrender gray. 4-3 heartbeats. There was nothing. Then applause erupted, first from a massive Garathi cadet in the third row, then spreading like shockwave thunder. Across the Dominion, the footage propagated within hours. Analysts dissected her technique. Politicians reconsidered Terra's status. Investigations opened into Draxus' wartime conduct. Decorations were suspended. A tribunal scheduled. Humanity's provisional classification shifted from minor curiosity to strategic priority. Amara declined interviews. She returned to classes. In the dormitory, Saran found her staring at her mother's hologram, hands trembling slightly. You do not have to be stone, Saran murmured. Amara exhaled. I was afraid I would fail her. You did not, Saran said, embracing her awkwardly with two slender arms. Weeks later, 14 new human cadets arrived. They walked through the docking bay unchallenged. Amara greeted them at registration. Welcome, she said simply. On the opposite side of the station, Draxus waited for transport to tribunal. A young Carvex officer asked what it had been like facing a human. Draxus stared at the stars beyond the viewport. I have fought wars across 11 systems, he said slowly. But I have never been hunted before. That night, Amara lay in her alcove. The memory stone gifted by a Garathi ally rested beside her mother's hologram. Carved into its surface was a single word in Terran script: endure. She powered down her datapad and closed her eyes as Ethra, 12 rotated quietly against the void. Far below, Earth turned in stubborn defiance of the cosmos, wild, dangerous, alive. And the galaxy, at last, understood what that truly meant.